How are you? That's good. I'm also doing well, so thank you. Yeah, I'm so happy to be with you today. This is a new month for us, the month of September. And I really wish that Herbert could still be with us this morning. And I believe he still is. So I think a lot of us from this last Sunday, we realized how precious each of us is. I really appreciate your heart coming together and really supporting and praying together for our brother. And as Pastor Resford mentioned, this is the time for the anniversary of our two fathers' ascension. And so I wanted us to be able to think about that and reflect upon it. Okay? So this is our service, September 7th, 2025. And I just want to start off, at least once a month, I want to remind ourselves of why we're here, who we are. This Family Federation is a special people, and we are here with this is kind of my personal motto is let's fulfill God's dream and build God's family centered on true love. Isn't that great? Could we do anything better than that? But to help God and build God's family of true love on this earth. So I'm really happy to be a part of that. And so on this particular Sunday, we have what we call this community Sunday service, in which you're sitting at round tables, okay? So sometimes we come to Sunday service and we want to hear a sermon or we want to get inspired by this person, whoever it is up here on the stage. But this Sunday, really, this is your opportunity to really participate in helping to build God's family. You know, it's not easy to build an ideal world. It's been a long and painful course. And for us also, we have to realize that to build God's family, we have to invest our sincere effort. Agreed? Do you agree? Okay. So I don't want you to think, oh yeah, this is this Sunday where we can sit around the table and we can eat some chocolates and oh no, don't put the flowers, okay? I took all the flowers off myself, so let's take all the flowers off the table. Yeah. Your heart is really good heart, okay? I appreciate your beautiful heart. But when I sat down at the table, when I first came here, it felt like it was hard to see across to the other side with the flowers in the middle. And the whole point of today's service is for us to really connect with each other heart to heart. Okay? So we're going to talk about a few things, but the key point is I really would like us to reflect about our true Father. The title of the sermon was Thank You, Father Moon, and we use that expression for the public. But personally for me, to say thank you, Father Moon, it's a little bit unusual, right? Like my own physical dad, if I said to my dad, thank you, Dr. Compton. Yeah. So in my heart, I really look to our true Father as my true Father. And so I wanted to focus our sharing today, thinking about and reflecting on how true Father affected our lives. Yeah. But before I go into that, I want to first, I chose this picture for a couple of reasons. One is, when you go to the spiritual world, even though you die when you look really old, like me, with gray hair and a few wrinkles here and there. But in the spiritual world, you're going to look the way you do when you're at your prime, okay? You're not going to be this old person, with your teeth missing. But in the spiritual world, your spiritual body doesn't get old like that, okay? You can get old in wisdom, in a deeper heart, and those things, but your appearance is going to be that of a young person. So that's why I chose this picture for True Father. And also I chose this picture because it is True Father together with True Mother. And I first want to thank True Mother, our Holy Mother Han. Because without her, I don't think we would be able to celebrate our True Father's life the way we are. Yeah. True Father's life is an incredible life. And True Father's love is incredible, and it touched my life so deeply. But it's True Mother who really was able to offer Father's life to heaven as a victorious offering, as the victorious returning Christ, as a victorious Son of God, as a victorious husband and parent. It was really True Mother who had the authority and the heart and the love to make that kind of desperate offering, sincere offering to heaven. So when our True Father passed, for 3 years, every day, our mother really sought to offer God, True Father's life to heaven as a victorious path. Yeah. So first I want to give thanks to our True Mother for that. Can we all give her applause? Okay. Can you help me with the slide? Doesn't seem to be changing. Oh, too far. One back. There we go. Okay, so we're going to share with each other at each table. And so first I want to give a few pointers about this kind of sharing as a small group. We're building God's family, and the beautiful experience about this kind of service is that we want God to speak through each one of us. Right? Each of us, each person here in this room is special, and each of you has some kind of testimony to offer to others. So that's number one. I want each of us to really think deeply, and when it's our turn to share, really share from your most sincere heart. That's the first thing. Okay? And second point I want to mention is for all those who are not sharing is the importance of listening. Yeah. To listen to a person is one way that we love someone. Lots of times people share and talk, but lots of times the people who are there are not really listening. They're thinking about what comments they want to make, or they're thinking about this or that. So I want to remind us, myself as well, that to really listen to a person is an important way to love someone. So the dynamic at the table is someone's going to be sharing, and the other 8 people, or however many people, are going to be listening. So let's really listen also with our whole heart. And one other tip is, when you listen in this situation, you don't need to make comments, okay? You can say thank you, thank you for sharing, or thank you for, what you shared. But please, let's not make comments about people's sharing. A part of you might feel like, oh, that's not the way I see the world, or oh, this or that, So please overcome your temptation to make any kind of comment. But just listen and really try to receive how is God trying to speak to me through that person. And if we do this, we can have an amazing experience where God can touch each of our hearts on this Sunday morning. And we can really become more of God's family and help God realize this beautiful family that God is seeking to create. So can you do that, everyone? Yes. So speak with a sincere heart and then listen, okay? Yeah. Okay, so there's going to be, you can, as usual, and the slide will come up later, as usual, we're all going to start with 1 minute in which you're going to give your name, where you're from, and one good thing that happened to you in the last week or two, okay? So you get 1 minute for that. Okay, then the main sharing, in which you have 4 minutes. Each person is going to have 4 minutes. I want you to pick one of these three. You don't have to do all three, okay? So number one is, what is something Father Moon left behind that made a difference in your life? That's number one choice, okay? But some of you may not have known Father Moon that well. Or maybe you're not that familiar with what his life was about. Okay? In that case, you can share what is something someone you knew left behind that made a difference in your life. It could be maybe your dad who passed away and taught you something, or your grandparents, or someone you knew very well who passed away and they left you some valuable lesson, okay? And if you can't think of anything, okay, then the third choice is, what is something you want to leave behind when you leave this world? Okay? You got the three choices? So hopefully number one, but for those who do not have any kind of experience, you don't really know so much about Father Moon, then please choose number 2 or 3. Okay? All right, great. Next slide. Oh, okay. So I'd like to share first a couple things that I am really grateful for to our true Father. Yeah. And I remember very clearly in one message that True Mother gave, and in that particular message, she emphasized 2 points that she's really, really grateful to True Father for. Number one is revealing God's Word. And number 2 is having the heart to go through the path of suffering and in the end to be victorious, to pay the price of indemnity that was required in order for God to be able to accomplish his will. Yeah. So the first thing I want to talk about is Father's words. And on this point, I'm also really grateful to True Mother, because the first thing that Mother did was, she said, I want to make Father's words like a diamond. Okay? So various people in our movement had put together Father's words in different ways and different arrangements and things. But I don't think anybody did it with the right heart or attitude or sincerity. So after Father passed to the spiritual world, one of the first things that True Mother did was to call on certain members and scholars in our movement, and they invested a lot of time and effort. I know a few of those people who were part of that process. It was a tremendous effort to go through Father's words and to rearrange them in a proper way, right? And choose the proper words and to make sure that they are in the right place, right? And in doing so, True Mother produced these beautiful volumes. And if you read these words in these volumes, they're just incredible, and they can change a person's life. So that's the first point. And that's also one of the most major impacts of my life was the truth that I studied. When I came to this movement, I studied these words, this content. And it changed my life. Yeah. Yeah, for me, I never question, this movement or who true parents are or God, because I've experienced the greatest miracle through them. And that miracle is a miracle that I, who was a negative, atheist, religion-hating, self-centered person, arrogant person, getting top grades at the university in California and thinking I'm, someone great, I'm going to, whatever. That God took that person and changed that person into someone who could find God's love and who could understand and see myself and be able to change who I was. For me, that's the miracle of miracles. And to me, that's always a daily testimony to the power of the word that Father Moon brought. Incredible word. Yeah. So that's one point I wanted to share. And I thought I'd pick one quote from Father that I thought maybe affected my life the most. It's this particular quote. You may have heard it from me a few times before. But Father said this: "You can be so confident as to say that without me, God cannot be happy." To me, this is an amazing word. Just incredible, right? Think about it. Each of you, each of us in this room, true Father is saying to us, you should have such confidence in yourself, right? That you can say that without me, God cannot be happy. It's one of the most beautiful things we teach in the Divine Principle, is that God created each one of us as a unique expression of God's heart. No two of you in this room, there's no two people in the universe, okay, that are the same. You are a unique expression of God. And no one can reflect God the way that you can reflect God. Isn't that amazing? Which means the happiness that you bring to God, God cannot find that happiness anywhere else in the cosmos. The only place God can find that happiness is through you. So when I realized this, boy, that really made me look at myself differently. And I realized, wow, I'm responsible to change and become the person in whom God can see God's own nature. Yeah. Okay. Second point. So you can only pick one point, but since I'm giving the introduction here, I get to give 2 points. And this is the second point that True Mother mentioned, is Father's incredible path of indemnity in suffering. I know Jesus suffered a lot. He received the 40 lashes and was crucified. But Father's course was that kind of a course where he had to go through crucifixion over and over and over and over again. I don't think any of us in this room can imagine what it would be like to be in a communist concentration camp, to be tortured again and again, to be beaten until you are lifeless and your body is thrown out into the garbage. So in this way also, I really want to thank True Father that he went through this incredible course of suffering and physical hardship. And the amazing thing is he did it for every person. He went through that thinking, I'm doing this to save the world, to save every person. When he was in the communist prison camp, at one point he got malaria and a high fever, and still he had to do this labor. And this one person was trying to help him and trying to make it so he'd be, have an easier load. And Father said to this person, get behind me, I'm not here seeking my personal comfort. I'm here to pay the price so that God can save humanity. So this is the other point that I really believe, Father has given to all of us, gave to me. I wish we had time and we could talk more deeply about Father's life course. When I was in New York for quite some time, I was teaching seminars, 2-day, 7-day, 21-day, and 40-day seminars in New York City. And part of that course that people would study, I would teach about Father's life. Okay? So looking back now, it's very interesting, right? We never talked about true mother's life, but we always taught about true Father's life. And I remember at a certain time in teaching and going through this painful course that our Father went through in order to save me and save each person. I really felt touched deeply, right? So I'm going to conclude my sharing just saying that Father changed my life, his words, and when I think about how much he went through to pay indemnity, to make it possible for the position of true parents to be established and to meet our true mother and to create this beautiful movement that is changing the world. Yeah. So I'm going to conclude and finish here with, when I was teaching Father's Life course, I got the inspiration for a song, and I just wanted to share the lyrics from that time, okay, and how it moved my heart. It's called Crimson Red on Angel Snow. So can you get the image? Snow is like pure white, like angel snow. And then the color red. Crimson red is a deep red. So, winter storm raging with no end in sight. A young man is beaten, thrown into the night. So many miles and so far to go, and where he lays dying, I can see blood on the snow. Excuse me. Crimson red on angel snow. Memories that stir my soul. They tell a story of my salvation by the one who labored for love. He's not afraid of the pain winter brings, nor wintry hearts who don't know where he's been. He gives all he has, and still he gives more. And where he stands speaking, I can see sweat on the floor. Nobody knows, nobody sees this noble figure bending down on his knees. So many nights and so all alone. And where he kneels praying, I can see tears on the stone. Crimson red on angel snow, memories that stir my soul. They tell a story of my salvation by the one who labored for love. Thank you very much. I'm going to conclude here.